I mean, even people going to basic training, because I'm a retired Navy veteran, and they having pre-boot camps in order to get people physically fit just to join the service. So
Mm-hmm.
this is a huge issue, and it's
Right.
hurting the minorities even more so because we got this mindset to think that the food that we eat, some of the soul food, knowing that a lot of our food wasn't really healthy for us anyway, and a lot of the food we had back, especially back in the early days, was scraps that we had to make a meal out of. But we don't have to continue that lifestyle. I mean, we
Right.
can eat fresh fruits and vegetables. We can do things to make, we can change the phase, but it all starts in the mind, you know. My mom was only 49 years old when she died from a heart attack, right? And that was my out opener. I was like maybe 19 or 20 years old. So it's already in our DNA, it's already in hereditary. And so her death was a huge light for me to make sure that I watch what I eat. I start exercising and doing right because I want to be around for my family. I have a 16-year-old son. I want to see him grow up to be a strong man and everything. And so, in order for me to do that, I got to first take care of myself. And so, it's critical for us to have that type of mindset, and we need to have it immediately. I get a lot of people in my class say, "Okay, King, cuz yeah, one day I'm gonna do this. One day, one day." But I'm like, no, I'm tired of hearing one day. I want to see day
Day
one. I
one.
want to see you
Right.
do your part. I want to make things
Mm.
happen. And so we just need to encourage one another to let them know how important it is that our life is precious. And being a child of God, I know that my body is a temple, and I want to do everything I can to preserve it and be a shining example, not just because of my spiritual walk, but my physical walk too, to let people know that people in their 50s, we're not over the hill. We're not past the point of no return. We can do so much, be engaged and stay active, but you got to have that mindset first.
Awesome.
Oh, okay. For me, and I'll probably take a little different approach. Just recently,
I absolutely love it,
probably.
y'all. I absolutely love it. An inspiration.
Let me see. Okay, so for me, something just happened last weekend. So I'm on YouTube and I'm kind of watching highlights of an old football game, college football game, and I'm reading the comments, and the comments mentioned a former teammate of mine, and it said so and so R.I.P. I said, wait a minute, they can't be talking about who I thought they were talking about. So I googled the name, and the name came up. There were about maybe 5 to 10 articles that talked about the passing of my teammate. Now, mind you, we're basically the same age. Uh, had he lived, he would have been 54 this October. He had passed away at age 48, 5 years ago, uh, after suffering a second heart attack. Now, mind you, this guy was 6'3", 240, runs like a deer, hits like a tank, played 7 years in the NFL. But he had already suffered one heart attack. And then he suffered a second one, and we had lost him. Okay. So King, myself, and my former teammate are all in that same age range.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I'm sitting up here like, wait a minute, we were at an elite level. Okay. To give you an idea of being able to play any organized sport at a collegiate or a professional level, which means you had to have been some of the best of the best of the best. And for him not to be able to see north of 50, it really had me to sit back and say, you know, what did I do to where I'm still here, but he's still gone? So I kind of had to wrestle with that. And then listening to what King was talking about, I'll be 53 next month. Okay. And having gone through some health challenges after I finished playing college ball, um, I was able to take what I learned through my college days to, to kind of take myself or to keep myself on this planet, not existing, but living. Uh, I think some of the things that we also have to look at, we also have to look at historical and environmental factors. For those of you who have seen me in previous episodes, I've always said that the given is racism, white imperialism. So we should always keep that in the back of our minds. But the historical and the environmental factors, if you look at nations that have been industrialized, going back to the beginning of the Industrial Revolution to the present day, anytime you see an industrialized nation, you see these diseases pop up. There seems to be this correlation between industrialization and the diseases that come as a result of physical inactivity. Okay. And then the environmental factors. I have a friend in the Bronx. He's originally from Cape Town, South Africa. And he said that the diseases that affected industrial nations didn't affect South Africa until they started bringing McDonald's, KFC, etc., into the townships, Durban, Johannesburg, etc. Okay, so that's what I mean when I talk about the historical and the environmental factors that play a role in our physical inactivity, along with, like I said, the given being racism, white imperialism.
So, if I may, I think the conversation that you both have just displayed before us tells a story of the new, a different era. I'm looking at you guys. I'm listening to your story. I have worked out with King Cuz. I worked out with the Fit Goddess, and I'm 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 an older. So, but just to know that people like you guys exist that are, in peak health and in your 50s. Um, but like in your case, King Cuz, for sure, I know that you've been fit. You stayed fit and you decided to get fit and stay fit in your 20s. And you showed a picture recently on one of your social media pages that showed you at age 20 something and you now. And I couldn't tell the difference except for, yeah. And so, and understanding that we have a new lifespan where people can actually live to be in their 80s and their 90s if they take good care of themselves. Um, tells us that fitness. I've seen people who started in their 40s and 50s, and they look better than they did when they were in their 20s or just as good. So it's not something that is ever too late to do. You can start anytime. And there are people who are predisposed to diseases, who knows? Maybe the person, sustained some injuries that caused it. It has nothing to do with, that your fact that you're the same age as your friend. But everybody's predisposed to something within it, whether it's genetic or lifestyle or diet.
Right. The sooner the better.
Exactly. So if you rectify it, you identify it, rectify it, and there may be things that you can prevent that are preventable, and there are things that may not be preventable. But that doesn't mean not to take care of your temple. So, what you think, Goddess? You there? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So that was kind of what was weighing on me, and just so anybody who's out there knows, if you are taking care of your body, if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, doesn't matter your age, if your life is important to you, your life exists inside of this. It cannot function separately. Once it leaves your body, you are no longer alive. So you have.
So you said keyword prevent.
Mhm.
And King, cuz she said you've been doing this since you were what I consider the secret key until maybe like 2 or 3 years ago.
You're breaking up. I can barely hear you. Goddess, can you hear us okay? Like you got a bad connection or delay.
Yeah, you have a delay.
I'm sorry. I know maybe I missed the introduction. I'm trying to think of the brother at the very top. What's his name? And
Brother
oh, forgive me.
Minister.
Yeah,
Yeah.
brother Minister Zumbi.
Oh, Zumbi. Okay. Yeah, I'm
Mhm.
sorry. I didn't get the
No.
intro earlier. I know you've been on this podcast a few times before. That's part of why it
Okay.
wasn't an intro. But this is my first time meeting you, and I
Mhm.
just
Okay.
want to say, you definitely hit the hammer on the head about the industry, though, because and unfortunately, the young generation sees this as an opportunity to get more exposure, but they put their health at risk in the process. Meaning that when you look at these fast food restaurants and you see how they try to cater to the younger generation, like
Right.
McDonald's and KFC and whatnot,
Mhm.
and unfortunately, they even going to the point where they using spiritual things to grab people's attention more. And this is
Right.
the world that we live in. Now, you
Mhm.
and I are on the same age. We knew that when we was young, um, we was very active outdoors.
Right.
You know, our mom had to tell us be home before the street light comes on. Right?
Mhm.
That's that
Right.
attitude. The today's society now, kids, you say go to their room, it's not a punishment. It's actually a reward. They stay in the room all the time on these phones, on these apps, on these platforms, and they're not nearly as active as it was when we were growing up. So
Right.
that definitely, and the industry is designing to make us more and more lazy. And like you said
Mhm.
earlier, whenever anybody see that there's an opportunity to gain funding from something that's also benefiting, another race, so to
Mhm.
speak, by demeaning the others, then they're gonna go for it. I mean, it's sad when I go see viral videos of people, acting like fools, right? Well, but yeah, you got people who want to give good advice, people who wants to educate, entertain, engage, and encourage people about health and fitness. They don't get a
Mhm.
spotlight. It's too boring. It's too lame. It doesn't reach out and grab you. It's like
Right.
they're saying, like, World Star Hip Hop, and all these other apps that cater
Mhm.
to that type of lifestyle. And the
Right.
industry is making millions, billions of dollars, really, and exposing our race in that form. But when you got someone like Goddess, myself, who has, and Rosalind too, that has the desire to want to reach out to our community, to our people, to let them know the importance of having a strong mind and a strong body to be
Mhm.
successful in this world.
Mhm.
Sometimes it falls on deaf ears because it's not that nice shiny object where I get all the views, I get all the posts, I get all the
Right.
follows, and that's the
Mhm.
world that we live in right now. And
Mhm.
the only way we're going to change that is when we hit a brick wall. When the younger
Right.
generation finally realize when they get to our age that, oh, I don't have nothing. I haven't really developed anything. Woe is me. I coulda,
Mhm.
shoulda, woulda. If I
Right.
only would have listened to the people who was trying to give me sound advice that's going to help me, help my body, help my family, help my
Mhm.
job, help my structure. And that's the
Mhm.
But
thing
wait,
that's frustrating. Yes.
I have a question because I'm always promoting giving a healthy life. So I went to the doctor recently for my yearly. Very excited. I always love seeing my doctor because she's just a phenomenal person. However, she's telling me about how these parents now, and it's unfamiliar to me because I'm not this kind of parent, but these parents now are force feeding children sugar laden foods to the point where this young lady wanted to give her baby, like 13-year-old, who clearly not finished developing, some type of surgery, barometric surgery, something like that. I'm not familiar with the term, but
Okay. You mean like a gastric bypass?
Yeah.
right, to a 13-year-old baby, because she's like, oh, I don't understand how she got this way. I don't understand where, like, I don't understand how that is the thought process. How did it, because I'm the youngest on the whole group, how did
Okay.
it get here? Right? Because even when I started raising my children, my mother was like, well, are you going to give them cow's milk? And I'm like, no, why would I do that? Why would I teach somebody who doesn't know anything about anything something that they don't need to know? I learned that I don't need cow's milk because I'm not a cow. It's a, fun fact.
Well, I think a lot of it has to go back to here's how I put it. Okay. You're trying to tell me to eat this way, eat that way, et cetera, so forth. But then every time I walk into a grocery store, it's like
Mm,
you've rigged the casino against me. So no matter what I choose, it's like I'm already crapped out. Then it gets even more insidious. Now, I'm probably going to date myself in the 90s. And I remember this going to different student leadership conferences, the talk of MSG. Okay. And I was having this conversation with somebody in a food co-op a couple of weeks ago, where there are 65 there's 65 code names for MSG. Okay, there's two that I remember clearly. One is maltodextrin, and the other is carrageenan. Now, if you pick up any, let's say, any salad dressing or any other condiment or any other food that has maltodextrin, carrageenan, or any of the other 63 uh, food additives, that's like a code word for MSG. And then we found out what the potential damage that could be done neurologically. I
mm,
think, if I'm not mistaken, it can bring on potential Alzheimer's and dementia,
yes.
Parkinson's. Okay. So that was a real big topic for us back in the 90s. And I think I still have that book, but it's just understanding what goes in. And the reason I'm saying this is because as athletes, particularly in the 90s, because I can remember certain things being introduced to our young athletes, whether it was whey protein, and then later on in the mid to late 90s, they started introducing creatine and these
Hmm.
fat burners uh, that was loaded with ephedrine, caffeine, and aspirin. Okay, I think King, you might remember. Okay, so when I started seeing all of these supplement companies just pop up out of nowhere, and the things that they were introducing to our young athletes, I said, wait a minute.
Hmm.
We didn't see this 30 years ago. Okay, we didn't see our athletes having to get their nutrition from a powder or a pill primarily.
But so wait, so what changed? Because when you say that as a mother, I hear that as Similac versus breast milk.
Mm-hmm.
Like just the argument in general. That's how I process the thing that I don't know to make it make sense.
Right.
So what was the change that happened in the world
I
that
think
led to
that
that?
I think the change, and like I said, I'm gonna date myself. Um, in the 80s, that's when the rise of steroids came into the mix. Okay, especially from the mid to late 80s going into the 90s. All right, because a lot of people feel that you couldn't get all of your nutrition from real food. So now all of these supplement companies and all these underground pharmaceuticals started popping up because I had to play against some of these monsters while I was still remaining, drug free and natural.
Mm,
So I had to learn a different way of strength and conditioning and nutrition to where I could level the playing field. And my greatest weapon was becoming a vegetarian slash vegan. And when I did that, it changed in a number of ways. One, I began to understand how the body breaks down food, when to eat it. Now the term is intermittent fasting. And because I played defensive end in college, and guys were sitting up here. I mean, they were eating, basically what I call heart attack food.
Mhm.
The double bacon cheeseburgers, et cetera, so forth, so
Mhm.
on. And they couldn't understand how me shifting to a plant-based diet could be so effective on the field, because you've been conditioned that we need animal flesh. And in most cases, the animal flesh that you're eating is the female, it's not the male.
Why does that make a difference?
Well, I'm not saying it makes a difference, but like this whole thing about eating animal flesh is more manly, more masculine.
Got you. Okay, so I understand.
Mhm.
Yeah, but that's funny though, because even in nature, some of the strongest animals are vegetarians, like the elephant, the gorilla,
Right.
you know.
But
King,
that's
I'm sorry, what do
Oh
you
no,
eat?
I'm sorry. What I eat? Oh,
What
I
do you
eat
eat?
meat. I eat my diet. This is my diet, and this is everybody laugh about, right? My diet is pretty simple. I don't do sweets, so that's my main thing. I don't do
okay.
sweets. I'm a Georgia boy who drinks unsweet tea. That's unheard of. Okay.
Over
Mhm.
here, yeah, in Virginia.
Yeah. So I don't do sweets. Now I do eat, but when I eat, I only eat when I'm hungry, not when I'm starving. And that's where I think when my brother was talking about intermediate fasting, because I don't just eat like, oh, it's time to eat. I don't look at a watch. I only eat when I'm hungry, but I don't wait until I'm starving to eat. So I don't want to put out a lot of meal. I eat in moderations. Now I eat my steak. I eat my eggs, my
Mhm.
fish, chicken. But I don't eat anything greasy. All my foods is either stir fried, baked, or grilled. And like I say, it works for everybody. I don't knock anybody's diet plan, but
Right.
I know that I have a sustainment story because, like Rosin said, I weigh 160 pounds. I've been 160 pounds for over 20 years. Never gained any weight, never lost any weight. So whatever works for me, I'm definitely going to stick to it because it keeps me young, keeps me fit. But I don't knock anybody's plans. Now, when I turned
That's
40, I just knew that my metabolism was going to slow down. I had to really watch what I eat. But since
Mhm.
I'm a very active person, I stay active. I'm always on the go. My metabolism is high. So it's based on lifestyle. And Ron said, if your lifestyle is you're sitting there behind the computer all day or you
Mm-hmm.
binge watching and you're not as active, of course, whatever you put in your body is going to have a big adverse effect.
Right.
And but I'm just speaking for myself. And when people
Mhm.
ask me what I do to stay in shape, I tell them that. Now, when I turned 50, I started taking one-a-day pills. And then someone said one-a-day pills ain't really the best thing because it's something else. Everybody always got that one perfect skill, that one perfect pill, that one perfect shake, and they promote it on you left and right. I get so many vendors come to my Instagram, my Facebook, because they see my physique and they want me to try their product just to say
Mhm.
that, hey, King Cuts tried this product, he looks like this,
Right.
knowing full well that that
It
was
had
not the
nothing to
case.
do with their product.
Exactly.
I got this way without that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So to sum up though, yeah, I mean, I do watch what I eat. I think the key thing for me though is that I don't do sweets and I don't eat greasy foods really,
Okay.
and that's how it is for me to maintain my diet. But I don't knock anybody who's a vegan or who does
Right.
eat whatever.
Right. You
I'm
know,
not.
the human body is the human body. It has this. It functions on the same set of principles as the next human body. And what ends up happening is that we try to make our bodies different. The body functions on a cycle, a clock. The sun
Hmm.
comes up, the body's ready to break fast from sleeping all night. Noon, it's ready to eat its highest meal, blah, blah, blah. When the sun sets, it wants to stop. And we in our lack of culture, um, we're basing what we do on our wants and our desires and our free will to choose. But in doing so, we're breaking anatomical, biological, scientific laws and principles that govern the body. And when you break those, there's a price to pay. You may look healthy on the outside, but when you're breaking those rules inside, the body suffers as a result. So,
Mhm.
you just can't do what you want. I'm sorry.
Right. I wanted to go back to somebody was talking about giving their children sugar.
Okay.
Okay, so there was a thing I was listening to on NPR. There was a woman in Texas, and she had said something that struck me and still sticks with me to this day. Um, when you take, we're talking about refined white sugar, okay, which I call the first cousin to cocaine.
That's right. Mm.
When you give young males, I'm talking about, before they reach 13, when you start giving them excessive amounts of refined white sugar, you know what it does? It attacks and compromises the ability to produce testosterone. Okay. And so you can imagine what ramifications that will have as the young male moves into adulthood. Okay. Because of all of that excess sugar that his body is forced to process. And now he can't produce the necessary testosterone in order for him to be a vibrant, healthy adult.
And now he's addicted to sugar.
Right.
Hmm.
Okay. So now you've
Addicts to
basically
stuff.
created a quote unquote legal junkie. Okay. Not to mention the fact that you compromise his ability to produce testosterone, which affects three things in a man: his mood, mental, his libido, and his ability to produce lean muscle mass.
Mhm.
Ooh.
Okay.
Oh no.
And I had to tell a group of young mothers this, and we were sitting in a classroom setting, and when I mentioned that, and I wasn't trying to put anybody on the spot, but all of a sudden you saw all of these guilty faces
Mm.
that went, that showed up on their face. They said, we didn't know. We had no clue,
Yeah.
you know. But that's why I'm saying what it does to a man. I don't, I'm not sure what ramification it has on a woman's body, but I can tell you what it does to a man's body, where it can compromise and cripple his ability to produce testosterone naturally.
Mm.
Right. Yeah. And trying to get your body to do something naturally that it has been inhibited
Mhm.
from doing is almost impossible as uh, uh, an adolescent, because the puberty and adolescent hormones crossing over, right? One has to overtake the other. It can
Right.
get some jumbled up stuff, but yeah, your liquid in your body, your blood and everything basically turns to goop.
Mm.
Sugar does that. Just like pouring syrup in your bloodstream. That's
Mhm.
what you mentioned about the white refined sugar and the white refined flour and the white pasteurized milk and cheese and
And
all
all
of
that.
these things that are refined will do to the body because it's not natural. And the
And I
body,
really just like that they use that word refined, because think about the way it sounds. Refine. It's to be a process to make it better, right? Even though they're bleaching it and putting chemicals in it, they're stripping it from its natural form
Mhm.
and processing it with a chemical and calling it better.
Yeah. So when you hear the term fortified, why does orange juice need to be
need to be
fortified?
fortified when it's already in its. Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
So it's like you said, you're having to strip everything down. Like one of the things I used to tell teammates in college, I said, make sure that whatever loaf of bread you get is heavy and dark.
That's right.
And
I can't eat bread. Bread makes me spread. I dread bread.
So the only reason I was I was saying that was because when you have something that is nutrient dense, it's got some weight to it.
Right.
That's
Arnold's.
right.
Okay,
You need them dense.
Arnold's and Ezekiel, if you're gonna do it, right?
right,
Well,
that
now they got
or
some warm ones out here. Dave's is good too.
and then there's Heidelberg. That's another
Mhm.
one. Okay, but you want to make sure that whatever you're eating is heavy and nutrient dense and it has color. Okay,
You
in
should eat a
fact,
rainbow.
there was a book that I can't find it to save my life. There was a book I picked up at Borders when Borders was still in business called "Don't Eat White at Night." So
Oh, I need that.
it talked about how anything that is white, it lacks the nutritional value that the body needs, whether it's white bread, white flour, white sugar, white rice, white potatoes, list goes on and on.
White salt.
Okay. So anything that you eat should have color, melanin, whatever you want to call it. It should have life in it.
Mm.
The
Well,
whole
how about
thing
these
about
people that want to rinse all of the dirt off the food at the grocery store? It had dirt on it. You better want some dirt on it. You want it to come out of the ground, don't you?
well, they take
Wait.
the dirt off and put wax on it.
So y'all remember being a kid, right? Especially y'all boys, men now, but boys then, right? Then they used to say, if you got hurt, just go put some dirt on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now we don't even like dirt on our food anymore. That's interesting.
Mm-mm.
All right, so how we understand that in fitness is really more nutrition, right? I've shown my clients with the in-body scan how quickly you can kind of metamorph your internal situation and therefore changing your aesthetic by changing your nutrients, right? By changing your diet. Now, like King Cuz says, it could be anything. You really have to like know yourself and be willing to play with the science experiment that you are. But outside of that, would you agree that strength training does the thing? Like, in addition to nutrition, strength training, lifting heavy weights or weights in general, what am I? An associate of mine just said, bang our bones, right? Which we need to do. It makes them, like he's saying, the food is dense. It makes the bones dense. It makes the muscles dense. It makes us live longer. Would you agree?
I agree that strength training is a necessary combination with good diet and exercise. But and the older I get, I used to do a lot of heavy weights when I was younger. I still use weights because, like you were saying earlier, most men, when we get 40, we start losing our muscle. And we need to start doing things to keep it and maintain it.
Right.
So I do a lot of, I do strength training, but it's more for resistance. So I can really put an extra blood flow in my muscles to keep it going so I can still have that definition. Because, people, and you see them, people in the 60s and 70s, they walk around shirtless on the beach, that six pack ain't like a six pack no more, right? Things started
It doesn't have
closing
the
down.
elasticity it used to.
Yeah, exactly. Right. But now, I encourage all my clients to do that. But for me, the first start is to make sure they know how to do the exercises properly and use good form. Once they get the good form down and I can see it, then I tell them to add some weights for resistance because I already know that they got good form and they're not going to injure themselves. Plus, they get the most out of that workout. We all seen people in the gym doing exercises all kinds of ways, all right? And then what works for me, I said, yeah, it may work for you now, but if you keep going that way, by the end of the year, you're gonna be needing a cane, my brother, because you won't be able to stand up because you're doing way too much exertion. There's a proper way to do things correctly. I'm just trying to show you the basics. And so I encourage people to add resistance training, to add weight training to their workouts once they develop a great form and technique in their exercises.
Correct.
Yeah. And it's interesting you had mentioned that one of my heroes, if you will, is Lee Haney, 8-time Mr. Olympia. And the one thing that he always said, he says, stimulate the muscle, not annihilate the muscle.
Ooh.
Okay. And the reason he said that is because now Lee Haney's in his mid 60s. I think he's like 63, 64. Okay. He's created his own personal training program where it's based on science. If you ever get a chance to check it out. But the one thing he said is that the mind and the muscle must become one, so that 1 rep equals 2 reps.
That's right.
So he was never into, like what these other guys were doing in the 90s where they were just trying to lift a house. He says, I don't need to do that. Okay. If I can trick the muscle to think that this 200-pound weight that I'm moving is 300 pounds. Okay. Because the muscle doesn't know anything. But
right.
he always talked about having a mind-body connection in your training. And he still does that to this very day. Now, he's not carrying the type of competitive muscle mass that he did in his heyday, but you don't see Lee Haney with a cane. You don't see Lee Haney having to get all of these crazy corrective surgeries.
Yeah.
Okay. He still has all of his natural joints, So it's really about, and like I said, he always says, stimulate, not annihilate.
Stimulate,
one of
not
the things
annihilate.
I really enjoy about what you just, I really appreciate about what you just said. And also, I got to say, I appreciate this about King, even though he tried to kill me in his classes, the King. And the Fit Goddess is that when they are doing their techniques, they're letting you know you don't. First of all, you don't need weights to do a lot of the stuff that you guys train us to do, so you can do it at home. And number two, if you do need equipment, it's light equipment like bands and medicine balls and things like that. Now, I encourage everybody to work out with weights because I think strength training and core training are essential to our extended life health, right? But the simple calisthenic movements that you both do. I've seen it from the female perspective, and I've seen it from the male perspective, and you both have got serious technique. I used to be married to a personal fitness trainer. I used to, see the whole process, and to have this kind of fitness availability to us in this area from a male and a female. I'm not saying y'all the only ones, but you're the only ones I know and that I trust. So just to know that the education is here, that people have studied and you have learned how to teach, and you've learned how to master, and you learn how to maintain, and you learn how to the right way to train people so that they won't hurt themselves. And you don't realize how critical that is until it's not here. And it has not been here for a long time. So my hat's off to all of you for the education. Respect the education that you've learned, and how to eat healthy and how to exercise correctly, and to be able to offer the the intelligence to us, and if the fact that it's there can affect the mortality rate, because it can decrease it. People don't know. You don't have to go anywhere. You could just log on. Look, I got the King Cuz right here on the app, right there. Just go in there and look at that, 50 and fit. And it's critical to me because my age group, here you go. Can y'all see that? But my age, look at that. Look,
yeah, see that now.
Don't get excited. But
good job, Fred.
Yeah.
Good job.
But Brother Minister shaking his head. But I'm just saying, knowing that we don't even if you're saying I don't want to leave my home, don't leave your home. You want to sit in front of the computer? Okay, sit in front of the computer. Sign on to
You
the
want to
Fit.
do it from your phone? Do it from your phone.
Sign up, yeah. Sign up with the Fit Goddess or King Cuz, right? And while you're sitting there, you do your thing.
Do you think?
You don't have to do a lot. Just move.
That's right. That's right.
Huh?
Okay, so it's come to that time of the show. We've briefly touched on the things that we're trying to prevent. So really, my goal as a wellness brand is to create a whole new culture of health. For years and years and years, it has been our statistic, and that these are hereditary diseases. So I say that if these are hereditary diseases, then let's replace them with hereditary wellness. So we have some time. King Cuz, I'm gonna put you up front. If you would be so kind to tell us who you are, where we can find you, what you got upcoming, all the things.
Okay, sure. Well, I live in Chesapeake, Virginia. Like I said, I've been doing fitness training for over 30 years. When I was in the Navy, I was the command fitness coordinator. So they basically had me in charge of my sailors to make sure that we was physically fit twice a year. And like Roger said, I took the military training, and I should be an amateur boxer. So I combined my military training and boxing training to come up with my 50 and Fit brand. And I do it right here in my garage. And as you can see, I have my speed bag, my heavy bag, my medicine ball, my elliptical. I just recently put mirrors in the back of my gym to make it look more authentic like a gym. And I've now started doing online training too here for the people who live here locally to do one-on-one training. But the bottom line is what we say, we only got one life. We got to make it count. So in order to do that, you have to really have a mindset and the willpower to say, today is the day, not one day, today is the day where I want to take my fitness journey on the right path with someone who's experienced, who's caring, who's educated enough, and will definitely engage you when it comes to health and fitness. So my website is 50andfit.org. Go there, you can check out all my classes I have available online, and I hope to see you there.
You're on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn.
Oh, yes. Also, if you go to my 50 and Fit website, you'll see all of the links to my TikTok, my Instagram, my LinkedIn, my Facebook. Yeah, so you'll see all those links there on my website.
I absolutely love it. All right, Mama, you up next.
Okay, so yeah. Well, I'm thankful for the mindset training that the goddess and the king and even brother minister have graced us with today. I think I'm thankful for the education again and the experience and the fitness journey that we're all on and trying to make fitness important. My company is alchemicaura.com, Alchemic Aura. I'm a certified wellness and life coach and personal fitness trainer now. I am located at the Just for the Health of It Wellness Center in downtown Suffolk at 431 North Main Street. You can come in and get massage, reflexology, biometric scans, DNA testing for nutrition, aromatherapy, reflexology. We're going to be doing classes, core training classes. We're going to be doing juicing, nutrition, just a plethora of things that are coming now. And we're just trying to health you. Let us health you. Thank you.
Let us help you. I love it. I love it. All right, brother minister, come on, tell us who you are.
Brother Minister Zumbi Ekshawala, servant of African people, author of the first book. Make sure this is the Gospel of Afronomics Theology. This is what I call my Black economic blueprint for the 21st century and beyond. It can be found on Amazon or at your local Black bookstore. I'm working on the updated edition now as we speak. I'm also working on two other things simultaneously. The next book is what I call the Chicago Code, which will be an African-centered approach to manhood in the 21st century and beyond, as well as a what I call an economic rites of passage for young men. It's called the Samburu system. It's based on the Samburu people located in modern Kenya. And one of the things that they emphasize is the importance of financial freedom, economic independence, and ownership. And so what I wanted to do was to create a three-phase program where we start with a knowledge of self, because I'm not going to put wealth in your hands until you understand culturally why you have this wealth in your hands. Mm-hmm. So from the knowledge of self phase, we give you the skill sets, business skill sets, and then phase 3 will be a capstone, because, and I say this in my book, that one of the core beliefs of the Gospel of Afronomics theology is that we believe the universe built man to be self-employed and entrepreneurial, which I also argue that if we were to regain our economic freedom, that it will go a long way towards us being able to address our health on our terms.
Awesome.
Brother, you always stay bringing the fire. I swear to God. Hey, tribe, now it's me. You know, your fearless leader, the fit goddess. We've got a lot of things coming down the pipeline. I'm so excited. You know, it's my birth month, so we are trying to go off in a big way. So this coming Friday, yes, the 14th, we'll be speaking at a Homeschool Your Kids event at Mary D. Pretlow Library in Norfolk, Virginia, over there in Ocean View. Also, this Wednesday, we're starting our Train Like a Goddess class. It is a 1-hour circuit training. It is the thing that my mom talks about, and a lot of my clients know. It is what I pride myself on, leading by example. And again, it is a pay as you can class at Believable Prana in Newport News. It's 1405 Killing Creek. And oh my goodness, at the end of the month, you have tuned in, hopefully, to the Empowerment Bookstore. We will be having our first authors networking swap situation. I hope you come out and support. I have invited all the authors that have so far been on the podcast, and they will be in attendance so that you can meet and greet them, talk to them. Hopefully, we'll do some deals and have some people have their books in the Black-owned bookstore in Newport News. That's Paperback Inc. But again, we're so happy to have you, and thank you for tuning in. Here we go. I'm about to fumble the bag. Boop, boop. I gotta jump you all out. There we go. I did it. Hold on, let me get my music rolling. Hey, tribe. Thank you for joining us on this empowering episode of Fit to Heal. We've explored incredible benefits of strength training and its potential to transform the health culture of the Black and Brown communities. Remember to prioritize your health and well-being by incorporating strength training into your fitness routine. We encourage you to subscribe to our podcast, like this episode, and share it with your friends, family, and community. Together, we can spread the message of the positive impact of strength training and inspire others to embrace a healthier lifestyle. Stay tuned for more enlightening discussions on physical activity, health disparities, and ways to promote overall health and well-being. Keep striving for a stronger, healthier future. Remember, your support makes a difference. Don't forget to like, share, and view Fit to Heal. Let's continue making a positive impact together. I'll check you guys again soon, tribe.